pjnet.tv. Brand new week. It is Monday, the 29th of June, 9 o'clock here on the East Coast, and we are running the bumper. We are recording. We are streaming on 9 platforms. We have our guest waiting in the green room, and we have a chat room eager to hear what she is going to say. So, let's switch to Studio 8 in 5, 4, 3, 2. Well, good evening. Welcome to pjnet.tv. I'm your host, Coach Prasick, and it is an honor that I get to sit in this seat, which is actually a plywood bench, every night, Monday through Thursday for this hour. And folks, we have a very special, we got a present for you. I've enjoyed speaking with her for the past 25 minutes and almost forgot to do some of the details that go into these programs. But Becky Lindsay has made special arrangements to introduce us, me, and the rest of us. Some of you may already know her. I don't know. But anyway, Robin Luftig is here with us. And when I do recon and on our guest to kind of find things, I don't do a background check or anything. But what an interesting person, Robin. You're not even supposed to be alive.
Not at all. Well, they gave me 10 days worth of living to do. I guess that's...
Now, I know you've been asked all this before, but, if I pondered, as I saw this, I pondered, what would I do if I knew I had 10 days only to live? It's like, well, what would I do? Well, let me give my car to my...
I know. What do you do?
It must have been frightening.
It's sobering. It wasn't... I don't know if it was frightening so much, but it was sobering because I've been a Christian for a long time. But it came down to the rubber meeting the road. Did I really believe what I said I believed? And I had 10 days to work all that out with God and to dig into what he had for me and to ask those questions that I was afraid to ask. Because there are questions that sometimes we don't want to ask God. Like, do you really love me? Or do you care? Are you real? Do you even hear me? And those were some of the conversations we had.
It must have been an emotional roller coaster.
It was amazing. Fortunately, because of the brain surgery that I was gearing up for, they gave me 10 days before brain surgery. They gave me a steroid to shrink the tumor or the swelling in my brain so they could do the surgery. And that type of steroid kept me awake. So I slept maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours a day for those 10 days.
That's normal for me.
So, but what I did is I used that time and I wrote letters of gratitude or emails to people that didn't know about what my situation was. I didn't have time to tell a lot of people. Of course, I told my family, but people that lived farther away and people from my past and people that had really made a difference in my life, showed me Christ. And I wanted them to know that they were important. And I also used time in prayer because, like I said, I needed to talk to God. I needed to know what I knew. I needed to know what I knew. And that's kind of an awkward place to be, but if you're not sure, I had 9 days, 8 days, 7 days, 6 days. I needed to know if what my Lord was saying to me was true. And he was so kind and patient. He waited for me and he guided me in prayer. He took me to scriptures that I had read 100 times before. Mm-hmm. But they came to life again.
Now they're reading you.
Now they're reading me. Exactly.
Your doctor was very cooperative through this. I haven't shared this, and I don't want to take too much of your time. I want you to tell your story, but I do have a similar story. I was told that I would die within 2 years when I was 48 years old. At the time, I was 266 pounds. My blood pressure, they could hardly take it. The equipment was about to burst trying to clean. I was in pretty bad shape. And the doctor looked at me and said, "You will not make it 2 years." And that's one of those wake up calls, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I respectfully, well, I don't know how respectful I was, but I said, "Doctor, I am going to follow your advice. I'm going to cooperate and be a good patient. But you are not the final authority on these matters." And I made it clear to him that God has that timetable, not him. 90 days later, I had lost 95 pounds.
Wow.
And the doctor's looking at my charts, and he says, "There is no cure for diabetes." He says, "But you are effectively cured. Eat whatever you want to, do whatever you want to do." He says, "This is a miracle." That's my story.
Those are wonderful stories. I love hearing those. And you're right. Yeah, God is the final authority. Now, my doctor was wonderful. He's a great guy. And he didn't tell me that I was going to die in 10 days. He told me, if there's anyone you want to see,
Mm-hmm.
any place you want to go, or anything you want to say, you have 10 days to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So he was kinder than you're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, now you can come through this surgery fine, or relatively fine, or you could come through partially fine, or not at all. So,
boy, how profound.
And one of my most serious questions to him was, "Are you going to shave my head? Am I going to lose my hair?" That's pathetic, right?
Keep that hair as long as you can, girl.
I
It's
know.
a badge of honor. I don't see
That's
many people
right.
our age that have. Anyway, we talked about that earlier. So anyway,
That's right.
Um,
That's right.
Robin, somehow if it weren't for Becky, we would not be here right now.
Right.
You would not be right there. Not we would
Right.
not be here. We'd still be alive, folks. Really.
Yeah.
She's great, but not that
She's awesome,
great.
but she's not all.
She's not that great. Anyway, but we've missed each other. We've been running in circles that are separate from each other. But you mentioned that a big influence on your life and your career was the Blue Ridge Blue Ridge Conference, which I've never been to. But why? What is your testimony?
I went there not knowing anyone. The first time, I think it was 8 years ago. I didn't know a soul, but I knew that God wanted me there, and God wanted me to write. So I thought, oh, I'm just going to go. This looks like a good place to start. I mean, let's go to the deep end of the pool. So I showed up, and people were so kind to me, and they wanted me to succeed. They told me how to meet people and how to do business cards right, and how to take classes, and what to take notes on, and who to pitch to, and what a pitch was, and how to do an elevator pitch. And besides all the nuts and bolts, I learned that they were praying for me even before I got there. They didn't know me yet, but they knew I was coming, and they prayed for everybody there. And that's leadership. You know, even if they would have sold bathroom sinks, that's who I want to follow. Someone that can be a good leader. And so that changed my life. It formed how I view writing, view writers. I like to help writers as well. And it's a great place to show Christ.
Well, Becky Lindsay just joined us all the way from the great Republic of the Republic of California. It's only great because she's there. All right, she's the last bastion of. Let me go back a few years. I was reading on your website. We're going to talk about your current book, about your last 10 days to live, so to speak. But before that, you went through a life-changing event that really, I think, am I right, kind of launched your career as a speaker?
Well, I went through some divorces, and I say that as plural. I wasn't born a Christian, but I accepted Christ early, and then walked away. I thought I could make things better on my own. And every time I turned, I was making a mistake, and I got into deeper mistakes and ugly mistakes, and it took me down some dark and awful paths. I was still a Christian, but I was making some really bad mistakes. And I needed to know that God loved me because I wasn't hearing that in a lot of places. Sometimes, Christianity is really, really good if it wasn't for some Christians. You know? So I just had to make it about me and Jesus. I had to have my relationship there be solid. And I thought, well, I'm not the only one that's like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote a book on healing after divorce on a Christian view.
What about divorce care?
Divorce care is amazing. I went through it a long time ago when it was on VHS tapes. I think now it was on CDs, and it's probably streaming now. But it gave me permission. It gave me permission to be sad. It gave me permission to be angry. That's important. You've made a mistake and you feel terrible, and you wonder what's going on. You're confused. You have doubt. You doubt your faith. You lose focus. You don't know who to trust. But they take you through steps, little steps, so you can gain that back, gain that relationship with Christ back. Even help fix your finances, gives you a little guidance on. It's all encompassing. Divorce care for me was very good.
Turned out okay, I guess. I
Turned
looked
out
at your
okay.
website, and you've got quite a few bookings in the future to speak. Is that because of your books?
No, I don't think so. I think it's because I'm involved with a ministry called Stonecroft, and they speaks with women's ministries and like luncheons and dinners. Women just get together, and I talk about some serious items. I talk about walking away from God. I
Mm.
talk about being from a town of 33 people.
I saw that. I couldn't believe it. I thought I lived in
Yeah.
the smallest town in the world. How can it even be a
Yep.
town with 33 people?
33 people. Yep. That was fun. And most of them were kids. And we had the best football games and the baseball games. And, it was wonderful. It was a lot of fun.
I, I'm going to take you at your word. I do.
Yep.
But,
Oh, but because it was so small, if you got in trouble at the end of the street, you
mhm,
got a whooping all the way
all the
home.
way home. Well, good.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing some stuff that some people apparently never got a whooping.
I'm
Uh,
thinking,
I think they got some trophies for losing, too.
yeah,
Uh,
everybody got a trophy.
yeah. The serious topics for women, when you go speak, what's the tone? What are the topics? Why do people come see you?
I talk about suicide. I talk about how Christians a lot of times give up, and how awful that is, and how devastating that is, and how unnecessary. See, just because we're Christians doesn't mean that Satan leaves us alone.
No,
That's
I
that's when we
think
get that's when we get
exactly.
the target on our back.
Exactly.
And if you're struggling, if you're hurting, and you listen to traditions instead of listening to scripture, that can sometimes mess you up. And it's funny because when I'm at these functions, there are there are three different types of women there. There are the women that come up sobbing with me and crying, said, "Yeah, I understand. I felt that too." And there are the other ones that watch from a distance because they're not quite sure. And then there are the ones that run out of the room when I'm done. They don't want to talk to me at all
Hmm.
because it's just too close to me.
Yeah, they're not ready yet.
They're not ready. And that's not my place. I
Yeah.
just have to plant seeds and let someone else take care of the rest. And I'm good with that.
So you wrote a book on now is the book you wrote on rebuilding your life after a divorce, is that like a personal testimony, or how does that book unfold?
No, it starts with, oh, I wish I could have. I wrote it a long time
I was going
ago.
to say, have you read
And,
it?
and brain surgery, and one of the things that was affected was my memory. So don't hold me to this. But I talk about some of the, the issues that you face
Hmm.
when when you get a divorce. Your relationship is never over. It's not over.
Hmm.
It's just changed.
Yeah, especially when kids are involved.
And yes, especially if you have children involved, you are going to be hooked forever. So you need to learn how to live with that. And you need to learn to forgive. And you need to learn to forgive yourself.
Hmm.
And one of the fun parts about that book is that I did a lot of, I took some testimonies from people from a Christian dating site. I put a letter out there, said I'm looking for people that are Christians that have been divorced, and
Hmm.
see what kind of responses. I got some great responses. Some people are very, very healthy in their divorce, and some are not so.
Hmm.
Yeah.
In the 3 minutes that we have left, we got to talk about your newest book, which
Oh my gosh.
your memory is still a little fresh on this one. God, and there's a recurring theme in your work, and it's God's best during your worst.
Right.
But this book is different. What is it about?
Well, this is my heart. This book is my heart. It took 9 years to write, and I used the my brain surgery for the venue, but it's so not about me. It's a good story that's in there, but it's a roadmap for the reader that if you face something that just knocked the wind out of your sails and you can't get on your feet again, you just you're lost. I take you step by step, baby steps. I went through for 10 days. I went through confusion, doubt. I lost focus, but I learned to get it back, and then I learned trust, and then I fell back to heartache, and I learned to surrender, because it's all about the relationship with Jesus and what God has waiting for you, because you have a purpose. Just because something bad has happened doesn't mean your purpose has changed. Your purpose is always the same. And that's what we have to find out. And that perfect is perfect. It's always perfect. Now, I did not want to die. I have children. I didn't want to leave my children. But I had to come to the place where I knew that if God wanted me to be dead, if my legacy would live on better
Hmm.
for him if I was dead,
Hmm.
then I was okay with that. And that's where we all need to come to,
Hmm.
because that's doing a swan dive into the lap of Jesus.
Did y'all write that down? Doing a swan dive into the lap of Jesus. Oh, but when we finish up here, Robin, I hope that you'll take a little hop over to pjnet.tv and read the chat.
Oh, okay.
You are making a difference, ranging all the way from the graphics on your title here, your cover, are amazing. You have got
All
somebody doing,
right.
yeah, the umbrella theme.
Mm,
This is a real nice. It's clean. The cover, the rain, the mountain in the back. It's not raining on. Oh boy, there's a story in the cover. I mean,
there's a
I
story in
could,
the cover.
yeah. Anyway, so well, Robin, that is a powerful story. Thank you so much. For
Well, thank
sharing
you,
that.
Coach. I mean, thank you so much for having me on. I just so appreciate your show.
Well, thank you, folks. I'll give you a little backstory. I actually got called into work today, so my day's been disrupted. And first thing in the morning, I'm getting panic messages from Robin saying something's gone terribly wrong. I assume blah blah blah, and I thought, what's the problem? You know, and I mean, I know I'm a little late here, but you know, so I message her back and explain. No, Robin, I don't know what time I'm going to get off. We're going to circle up. We're going to do a test connection. Everything's going to be fine. Well, then I find out, you know, so we do the test connection, have a little conversation. In that conversation, she says, well, and I say, listen, we start at 9 o'clock, and, you know, if you're not there at 10 minutes till, I'll start. She said, I thought it was at 9 a.m. I thought,
True.
now I see. Now I see why the pan, you know.
I didn't know why we were doing a test run tonight, but I was okay with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're doing, yeah. So anyway, so that was fun. And Robin, I tell you what, it has been worth, in spite of the confusion, it has been worth every minute of it. Folks, go to Robin Luftig. Here, I'll put it on the screen one more time. There it is, robinluftig.com, and connect with her and all that kind of stuff. What an amazing story, Robin. Thank you so much
thanks.
for sharing
Well,
it.
thanks
We've
for
enjoyed
having
it.
me.
Glad to do
Great.
it. Thanks. Good night.
Good night.
All right, folks, that was powerful. And I love doing this. I love doing this, and I thank each one of you. The chat room is really just alive with folks. If you're watching this on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, great. But, you know, there's a whole bunch of people at the chat room, pjnet.tv, that would love to be your new friends. And you can watch the same stuff there. Cool? All right. In just a few moments, at the bottom of the hour, every Monday, Casper brings us Casper's Take. He brings us Casper's Take. Think of that. Folks, he's on fire lately, and you won't want to miss that, but I've got to kind of bump myself out of here to get things ready, clean up the place a little bit, you know, and sweep the floor, make some more coffee. But before I leave, I need to ask you to ask yourself 2 questions. Please do this. The first question is, what is the boldest thing you have ever done for Jesus Christ? If you're struggling to answer that question, I think you get the point. But maybe you're not, and you think, I got it. Here's the next question. How long ago was that? The challenge, if we are to win this game of the Great Commission, is to never be satisfied with either answer.